I can't hear anything.
Meeting. Share better. There are 3 children and 1 participant in this conference. The recording started.
I'm sorry, Diane, I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Oh.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, and I've had to reopen it and restart the program after you left.
Hold on just a second. You're fine. Oh. Maybe I muted the wrong thing. So if so, I will, hold on a second. Just hold on a second. I'm going to take the controls back, Kathleen, just for a second, because I think probably I had everything on mute. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the beginning because I think I had the whole thing on mute. So I'm going to go back to the beginning and introduce myself. And I'm Diane Manuel, and I'm with Urban Wealth Management. I want to thank everyone for joining us today on our monthly webinar series, Smart Women, Savvy Money. We do this 11 months of the year, every month except December. We try to provide lifestyle and financial resources to all of you. I want to welcome everyone that is new to us and haven't had an experience with anything in terms of urban wealth management, so I appreciate you guys joining us. and I hope you enjoy this particular presentation and come back in the future many, many times. And for those folks that have engaged with us previously, thank you for coming back. I do want to make sure I walk you through this website, which is, we have plenty of blogs and information, which I think you'll all find super, super helpful. And then I also want to share with you our next event, which is Being Your Own Princess Charming. You know, you can create your own happily ever after. That's going to be presented by my colleague, Dorinda King. So please feel free to engage with us frequently and often. We love hearing from all of you and getting feedback on the so many different things we're going to do. So right now I'm going to switch this over to Kathleen. Our presenter today is Kathleen Duke, and she is an estate planning attorney that was recommended for this presentation by my colleague, Miyu Ramirez. Kathleen is great, and we went through this presentation yesterday, and I think you're going to really get a lot out of it. So it's going to be awesome, and it's going to be amazing, and most importantly, you're going to get some strategic ideas on what to do if you or anyone you know are in these not so good situations. So I try to ask my presenters what's the one thing that somebody wouldn't know about them, and Kathleen is an actor. She's been interested in theater since she was very young, and now she even wants to go out there and make some commercials. So I'm glad you get to see her and see the other side of her, and hopefully you'll get to see her in some commercials also.
I'll be squeezing the Charmin or selling.
So Kathleen, I need you to, I don't think I did this. Let me give you, so you need to, I don't see your screen yet, so there should be a little thing at the bottom.
Maybe I have to do this again.
Yeah, you got to do it again.
Okay. Are we there?
Not yet. There we go. It's coming up. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
You're good to go.
Yay. All right. Are we ready to rock and roll?
Ready to rock and roll. It's on you, girl.
Very good. Very good. Hi, everybody. I'm Kathleen Duke. I'm an attorney out here in California. I understand that we have people not just from California, but from all over the country. So I'm going to try to be sensitive to that. My background, of course, is California law, but a lot of the concepts that I'm going to be talking about are universal. So I'm talking about the very important concept of financial elder abuse, and I'm going to give you guys some tips on how to protect yourselves and your loved ones so that you can age safely. And my screen is not advancing.
I think you need to go to your presentation mode.
Ah, I am. Okay, there we go. Hi, that's me. So here is just a little bit about my...
Kathleen, you're not in presentation mode yet?
What are you seeing?
I'm just seeing your regular PowerPoint. So go up and hit the presentation thing.
Because I'm seeing presentation.
There you go.
Better?
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
Very good. So not going to repeat the intro. I'll go right to this screen that talks just a little bit about my education and experience. I am a sole practitioner in Chatsworth, California, and I do estate planning, estate administration when someone passes away, either a probate or trust administration, and I do conservatorships, a legal proceeding that you do when someone does not plan and needs someone to take care of them. I also was a probate attorney with the Los Angeles Superior Court, which gives me the perspective of what happened, when things break down, that they go to court, and it really has informed how I now approach planning, knowing what ends up in court. So today, I want you to come away with an understanding of what is financial elder abuse, why elder adults are so vulnerable to this, who are the most likely perpetrators of financial elder abuse, and that was a surprise to me when I learned this, and why the legal remedies are really inadequate, so that prevention is the oh my goodness, I apologize.
Call from Debbie, ready.
I apologize. So some of the practical things that you can do to prevent yourself and your loved ones from becoming a victim. So what is elder abuse? Well, what is an elder? To start with, in California, it's anyone age 65 or over. And elder abuse can come in a number of flavors. It can be physical abuse, hitting, punching, emotional abuse, which is very common, yelling, various kinds of verbal abuse and intimidation, and then neglect, abandonment, and isolation, basically not providing an elder with the care that they need or leaving them home alone when they can't take care of themselves, or preventing an elder from receiving visitors and telephone calls. And then there's financial abuse, which is what we're going to concentrate on today. So what is financial elder abuse? Basically, it's theft from an elder. And it is one of the most common types of abuse. And it involves basically either taking an elder's resources for the benefit of the abuser, or just not providing an elder with care so that there will be assets thereafter when the elder passes away. So a child maybe who does not provide their parents the care that they need to enhance their inheritance later on. It really is a very, very common, and it's hidden because it doesn't get reported. I had some statistics here. 10% of people over age 60 have reported being abused, and only 0.02% of financial elder abuse cases, according to one report, one study, have been reported. So it is hidden, it is rampant, and the other forms of abuse, physical and particularly emotional abuse, are used to essentially further theft from an elder. Why are elders so vulnerable? They are targeted because they have wealth. They have spent a lifetime accumulating for their own retirement, and it can be gone within the stroke of a pen. And abusers know that. Elders are dependent upon others for care, and when you're dependent upon someone else, it gives them a kind of power over you, and you can be more manipulated if your needs are essentially threatened by being taken away. Elders often have some degree of cognitive impairment. It's very, very, very common. My father himself has Alzheimer's. He's in his mid-80s, but he's a happy dementia patient because he frequently says that, you know what's so great about Alzheimer's? You meet new people every day. Of course, he's told me that joke a gazillion times because he doesn't remember that he told it. Elders are also more likely, to be socially isolated. And this is really critically important because isolation is an abuser's technique for getting away with hiding their crimes. And it can be, again, not allowing an elder to receive visitors or phone calls, or not keeping family members informed of what's going on, and it's just very, very common. I think there's a big difference between social isolation in women and men. And my theory is that men often die at home, surrounded by their loving family. Having been cared for by their wife for a couple of years, she sacrificed herself to make sure that her husband had a peaceful passing, and women die in nursing homes. And that may seem a little harsh, but there's an awful lot of truth to it. Then there are a lot of women who are elder orphans. Perhaps it's an elder woman who has never married, or married but divorced, or married but widowed. And all women are statistically likely to outlive their spouses and may become an elder orphan at some period of time. Or a person may never have had children who might be there to care for them. Or even if they have children, they might be financially irresponsible, addicted to drugs, married to a controlling spouse who abuses the elder through the child. Or they might live in another state or in another country. So to a certain extent, we all may be destined to be elder orphans. So who are the perpetrators of financial elder abuse? Family members. When I learned about this, that 2/3 of financial elder abuse victims have been abused by their spouses and children, I was shocked and disappointed. This can happen when a child is unemployed and comes and moves home and says, "Oh, I'll take care of mom," and then end up just using mom's resources as his personal source of income. or persuading mom to change her estate plan to favor the child that's staying home and helping take care of mom to the detriment of the other children, which is just inviting a lawsuit after mom passes. Caregivers are the next largest group of people who take advantage of elders because they have proximity. The elders often dependent upon them for care, so they have some sense of power. And elders, particularly when they don't have children and family around, often develop false friends. So, you know, mom has or grandma has a new boyfriend, as the picture is down at the bottom of the screen, or a neighbor who says, "Oh, well, let me just help you, you know, get your groceries. Just write a check and I'll take care of that for you." And then they come over and ask for more and more and more, and just get involved in an elder's life. So the quote down here is my own: "The people who you love, trust, and rely on for care are the most likely people to steal from you," which is disappointing but true. So legal remedies for financial elder abuse are pitiful and awful. The abuse has already taken place, and elder abuse is a crime under the penal code. All of these things are state law based, so I'm going to give you my perspective from California law basically, but again, similar state laws in every state in the United States. Abusers are rarely criminally prosecuted because you need evidence, and there's a very high standard of proof. Beyond a reasonable doubt, you have to prove that this elder abuse took place, and often the only witness is the elder themselves, and they make very poor witnesses. So the criminal justice system does not address this. Civil lawsuits for damages, that's something that I do to try to recover funds that are taken, is also woefully inadequate because the money is typically gone. It has been spent, it has been enjoyed elsewhere or put in someone else's name, and often the elder is left penniless. Maybe there's some real property left, but maybe the abuser had them sign a deed as well, and that's gone. So it's a very inadequate remedy. Elder abuse restraining orders can be helpful, but they only prevent abuse going forward. They do not get the money back, but they can help in getting an abuser out of your house, getting them to stay away from you, and can, in California at least, it can apply to other family members as well. Okay, so here are some practical prevention tips, things that you can do. And of course, it starts with just understanding what financial elder abuse is and some of the warning signs. So educate yourself, and you're starting to do that right here, because you cannot avoid what you don't know and don't understand. Get healthy and stay healthy. So that you're less likely to be a victim. And if you or a loved one has any signs of memory loss or cognitive impairment, see a neurologist immediately. There are fabulous drugs out there that can slow down the progress of dementia and help someone have a much better quality of life, but you need to address it as early as you possibly can. Trust your instincts. Your body knows when something's amiss, or something's just not right. And if something doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. So don't allow an abuser to instill self-doubt, because you can express a concern and they're, "Oh, this is normal. This is okay. You're just being super sensitive." And there's all that kind of manipulation that can go on. But you should trust your instincts and learn to say no. Resist the impulse to appease and please an abuser. I often make a dog analogy, that you've got a dog at your back door that just keeps coming over begging for food over and over again. So finally you give in and you put some food out for the dog, and what does it do? It just encourages him to come back again and again and again. So if you make payments and give up a property to an abuser, they're just going to come back for more. So resist the impulse to do that. Avoid social isolation. Again, this is the big warning sign when financial elder abuse is taking place. So you want to stay connected with your family and friends, and stay connected with your elder parents, even if you're living far away. Invest in your social network, because the people around you are the people who are going to help you at a time when you need them. And I read a book, I'm sorry, I can't remember the author's name, but the basic concept was dig your well before you're thirsty. Because if you have not invested in your social network and helped other people in their time of need, they're not going to be there for you when you need them. So invest. Develop some close friendships. Confide in a trustworthy friend or an advisor if anything makes you feel uncomfortable. They will give you a different perspective and help you see more clearly what's really going on. Don't give up your power. You want to assert and maintain your independence for as long as you possibly can. Elder or abusers often groom an elder, and it starts with just being helpful, which, you know, it all seems nice and good. Oh, just let me help you with your groceries, and then they basically never let you get your own groceries again. They just infiltrate themselves in your life. So maintain your power. Vet caregivers carefully. A lot of elders want to age at home, and that's great, but you need to be very careful with the caregivers that you bring into your home because, again, they're the second most likely group of people to commit financial elder abuse. I strongly encourage you to consider hiring through an agency, even though it might be, you know, several dollars more an hour. But when caregivers are hired through an agency and there's a problem, all you have to do is call up the agency and say, that was this person's last day, I'd like you to send someone else. It's easy to hire and fire when you have a problem, but if you, as an elder, enter into an agreement with a particular caregiver and you develop a strong bond, and then all of a sudden, you know, things don't feel so good and that person has power over you, it's very difficult for an elder to then fire that person. So, again, encourage you to consider hiring through an agency. It's very good to develop a relationship with a financial advisor because financial advisors are kind of on the front line of your money, and they are able to monitor, to a certain extent, suspicious activity. If you develop a relationship with a financial advisor, and you're doing $10, $100 transactions, then all of a sudden, oh, somebody wants to withdraw $250,000, maybe your financial advisor will see that and be able to kind of investigate the situation. Slow down. Important financial transactions don't need to happen right now, and that kind of time pressure is a technique that abusers use. So I like to have a 3-day rule for any financial transaction before you sign any contract. Just wait 3 days, because that'll give you, the other elder, an opportunity to think, consult with others, and make a wiser decision about a financial transaction. Put everything in writing. Never accept a verbal promise where property or money is involved. Because it can be, oh, just sign this $250,000 check right now, or give me all your money, and when you die, I'll take care of your kids, and which never happens. And so you want to get everything in writing. All right, some legal tips, finally. It is important to engage an attorney to prepare a comprehensive estate plan for you, because a comprehensive estate plan not only provides for the passage of your property upon your death, but it provides for what happens to your property and how it's applied for your benefit when you lose capacity during your lifetime, which is very important. So it's some of these smaller documents, a healthcare directive, a durable power of attorney, that I think are much more important than any kind of document that would pass your assets upon death, because these are the things that are going to help you care for yourself while you're living. A typical estate plan includes a trust, a will, a healthcare directive, and a durable power of attorney. In California, that's what we call them. Healthcare directives can go by some different names, healthcare power of attorney, things like that. But those are the basic documents. There's other things. But to have an estate plan, you have to execute it while you have capacity. So you have to do it while you're healthy. Once you lose capacity, you may no longer be legally able to execute a trust, which is a contract and requires a reasonably high level of capacity to execute. Not so much for a will. The lowest level of capacity, in fact, is to marry, unfortunately. So it's also important to have clear, well-written documents that's customized to your assets and your family and your goals. I have never seen a family, never seen a set of assets or goals that are just alike. Every family, every situation is different, and so your estate plan needs to be not a check off the box, but customized to you and your family and your concerns and your difficulties. Estate planning is a gift that you give to your kids and those who come after you. It avoids confusion and family conflict. If you have a healthcare directive that says what you want to happen to you, whether or not you want to be an organ donor or not, things like that, then your kids won't dispute it. Oh, mom would want this, and so, oh, no, mom would want that. It avoids those sorts of conflicts in your family, and so you're helping your family have more peace. And it allows you to maintain control over what happens when you're no longer able to make those decisions yourself. And having an estate plan avoids the cost and the delay of a conservatorship. Now, a conservatorship is a legal proceeding where if you have not executed a healthcare directive and durable power of attorney, you have to go to court to basically get the authority to do the same things that you would otherwise do under a healthcare directive and durable power of attorney. And it's a reasonably expensive process. If it's contested, it's awful and painful and expensive at the same time. And if you have a healthcare directive and durable power of attorney, you can avoid that. So healthcare directive, again, it's one of these really important documents because it affects you during your lifetime. Basically, you're designating an agent to make healthcare decisions for you when you can't, and then providing them with a set of instructions about what you would like to happen to you. And it avoids a conservatorship of the person. You can execute a durable power of attorney for asset management, which is kind of a companion document to a healthcare directive, but it's designating an agent to make financial decisions for you, and it avoids a conservatorship of the estate. One thing about a healthcare directive I want to mention, I want to discourage you from having check off the box kind of healthcare directives and have a more comprehensive attorney drafted healthcare directive. I learned about this when I had a client, a daughter, member of a family of 5 who lived close to mom, who was in assisted living, called her every day, helped her have her hair done, had a check off the box healthcare directive. One day, one of the other kids said, I want to take mom for a visit to Iowa with me. And once she got to Iowa, he never returned her and filed a conservatorship in Iowa. We ended up filing a conservatorship in California, and the dispute was over who had the authority to determine where mom lives. You can designate that in a healthcare directive and avoid that kind of conflict. So execute a revocable living trust. Again, a revocable living trust is for the management of assets that you put in the trust. So a successor trustee is much like an agent under a durable power of attorney. So this is another life planning document, not just an assets passing at your death document. So very important. And critical is choosing your fiduciaries wisely. People are usually the trustee of their own revocable living trust, but then designate successor trustees who would take over in their incapacity or death. And you just need to have people who are responsible. You don't want someone who is, unemployed, independent, and likely to steal from you, or drug addicted, or otherwise irresponsible. You want someone who is financially independent, really loves and cares about you, and can make wise decisions for you and is trustworthy. And if there isn't somebody like that, you can designate a bank to act as a fiduciary, or in California, what's quite common is having a private professional fiduciary, an individual who would take on these roles, and you can even interview them and choose them in advance. So, and most importantly, if you see something, say something. Elders, when they're in this kind of abusive situation, often don't have the ability to report it because there's going to be retribution on them, because abusers don't let go. They don't go quietly. They continue to manipulate. So if you see something, say something. Report elder abuse. I've given you some information here about in California, the Department of Social Services, a link here where you can find the adult protective, or actually the first one is general information about elder abuse of all kinds. And sorry about that. California, all counties in California have a 24/7 hotline that you can call up and orally report elder abuse. In Los Angeles County, you can only report it orally. And then for Los Angeles County, I've given you the number that we use here. I love this quote by Edmund Burke, which I have amended a little in the brackets. But the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good women to do nothing. When you do nothing, that's when the abuse happens. It is essentially catering to the abuser. So if you see something, say something. So that's the end of my formal presentation. I'd be happy to take questions from the audience. Diane?
Sure. Let's have one question. And you talk about how difficult it is to get the abuser out of one's life.
Yeah.
And, sometimes we see the child or the relative who is not the abuser, but something else is going on, you know, and like you said, they need to report it. Are there other strategies that that person that's trying to help, can they employ just to minimize some of the abuse that is happening in the meantime? Because I know it takes a second for, you know, Adult Protective Services to...
Yeah, when you call Adult Protective Services, they will investigate, but it might take a couple of weeks before they come out and make a visit. And I've had a case where things were reported, but the woman had difficulty and took her a long time to get to the door. She had 2 bum legs and in a walker, and Adult Protective Services knocked and did not wait long enough to see her, and ended up leaving a card on several occasions. So it's a very imperfect system, but it's something. But I think it's just getting other people that the elder knows and trusts to talk to them, to give them a different perspective on what they're experiencing. Because when you're in it, you just don't see it. Right. And so having other people around, or, you know, bring in a close family friend that the elder's known for 50 years, something like that. But bringing in other people, I think, is really important, because it might just get the elder to see what's really going on and then stop cooperating in their own abuse and start taking steps to stop it and prevent it from happening in the future.
Right. I think it's a great idea, and I think your strategy of the 3-day rule is something we can all repeat and share.
Absolutely.
I know that's something that
whether you're an elder or not.
Right. that I can share with my clients.
Slow down.
Yeah, just slow down. Take 3 days. I think that's awesome.
I do that when I go shopping. It's like,
exactly.
let me wait 3 days, and if I really want it, I'll come back. It would save me a lot of money.
Right. There's a really good point. So I'm going to wrap it up. I thank you all for joining us, and
thank you.
Really appreciate it. Kathleen, thank you so much. As I indicated, let me see if I can share this screen back. We have quite a few webinars coming up. On Wednesday, June 19th, Dorinda is going to be talking about being your own Princess Charming and living happily. Right, living happily the way you want to live. And then our Smart Women Savvy Money webinar for July is caring for yourself and your loved ones. And I think Dorinda might, I don't know who's doing this one. I think Dorinda might be doing this one also. So we're on a theme for, you know, taking care of the later part of our lives, whether it be you or a loved one, and these are strategies we can, as Kathleen said, employ now while we have the capacity to do them and to recognize what's going on or how you can help other loved ones. So I really appreciate everyone joining us today. I hope that the webinar has been, you know, uplifting, enlightening, encouraging, and of course entertaining. Kathleen, you were great. Your acting skills came through, and I hope we were successful with that. And I really look forward to seeing everyone in the next few months as we continue with our Smart Women Savvy Money webinars and other webinars that Urban Wealth Management shares. So thank you all. Have a good one.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. And have a good, what's today? Thursday. Have a good weekend. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.